Hello again, it's Miss Darling in the studio. Welcome back. And if you're here for the first time, I hope you'll find this content valuable and that you'll subscribe and join our little artistic community. So let's get started with today's project. I have on the bottom here a sheet of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper that I dislike. And so I'm going to use it as my substrate and take some of these beautiful book page scraps that I have painted with distressed oxides, and I'm going to make a masterboard using these scraps. And so I have a bunch of warmer tones here that will blend beautifully together. I separated out the cooler ones because while you can mix them, you're not going to have as good a blend. They might tend to fight each other, and so I'm not even going to consider those unless I really need to. And then I do have some book page scraps, and these are all from vintage books. I do have some that are not painted at all because the eye needs a place to rest, and so I may interject some of these in there if I feel it's just becoming too overwhelmingly busy and I feel I need something for the eye to rest on. So, as I have taught in actually my very first video on this channel, I'm going to do a diagonal design, and which I really like and you don't see much of. And so when you lay down your first strip, and I think maybe I'll choose this one, you don't want to go from corner to corner. I know you can't see the entire 12 inches on my screen, but we don't want to go from corner to corner and literally cut the substrate in half. That doesn't work. So we're going to go, we can start at one corner, but then we want to come down to somewhere in this area and not go to the corner with it. And I'm going to be using a glue strip for a couple of reasons. One is I want to get a cohesive adhesive. Cohesive adhesive. Is that a new term? Anyway, I want to cover it as evenly as possible, and you cannot do that with wet glue. And the other reason is that this is vintage book paper, and it is very fragile and will tear apart at a moment's notice. If you just look at it, it's going to fall apart on you. And so I think I'll have the least resistance by using the glue stick. And let me find my bone folder here. So I have my first strip laid in, and now I will pick up. I want to do something for the next strip that is goes in a different color direction. I don't want to use the same width, and I treasure these, so I'm going to tear this one into two pieces so that I don't waste anything. And so I think we'll drop that one in there, and maybe we can use this one on the other side. Maybe a little too symmetrical for me, so I'll save that for another. No, I think I'll switch those out. I think I'll use this one, and I want to put some protection down so it's not pushing down against my nice grid surface below. So I think the best way to do this is for me to glue off camera, and I'm not having to swap things around so much. But I think right off the bat I'm going to change direction. Just for fun. All right. Oh, that's a nice piece. Nice and wide. Maybe we'll use it to continue on down. And I think that's a good plan. Oop. See what I mean by its fragility? So I have to be more careful. That's too close in color. I think the green stands out too much. Let's see about something that's more like that. So how is everybody today? I hope everybody's doing well. Oh dear, how did I get that so short? No, we'll go up here with it. I don't know what happened, but okay. All right, we have something kind of a medium width here. Oop. Wow, look at that. It grabbed hold onto my safety net and away it went. So I think I better start snipping these off fairly soon. And of course I don't throw them away, because I have found all too often that these little corner pieces can come in real handy, especially as we get toward the end of what we're doing. All right, and I think I've got some gluing issues. Okay, now I think I'm going to do two that go a different direction. And this time I got to be more careful how I cut it. Can't make that mistake again. I'm using an old catalog. To do my gluing on, and when a page gets rather full of glue, I just flip the page over and have a nice clean surface to continue on. I think I'm going to have to cut these off each time. I didn't want to do that for the sake of a lot of time wasted on that for a video, but I don't. The book pages are so fragile that you really can't afford to have something break apart on you that you are working with. Alright, okay, here's how we started. One thing I like about the diagonal style is that it usually works out to be perfectly beautiful to work with it in more than one vantage point. So, like that. I think I would like to put something quite narrow there. Maybe something like this that has some text on it. And this particular one, I just did some stamping on it. So that's why you see that textural design on it. But I think I'm going to, again, tear this down, because I don't like using the same width next to another one. I like my widths to vary, as well as the direction and color. Okay. Since this is more toward the center, I would like a little more of the design to show. So I'm going to, I didn't quite get that nice and straight. So we're going to drop that in there. Why do I keep losing my bone folder? I do not know. Just seems like it likes to crawl under paper. I'm going to put it up there. Then I'll know where to find it. right. So far so good. And I think I'll take this other one and run it a different direction. Alright, maybe at this point it might be a little time to put in a something with no painting on it. Or maybe down here. Give me some strong contrast between that piece and this one and that one and that one. And we'll give the eye a place to rest. Oh wait, that's the flip side of this, so that really isn't that. So we'll find one that, but I don't want it that wide. What have I got here? Might be long enough. See, do we like that side? Or do we like this side? I think I'll go with this side because it gives me a little extra automatic thin stripe of a different color going down the edge of it. So it's like I got 2 for 1. Okay. All right. Now, what have I got over here to work with? I had that original piece. That could be nice there. Had to flip my catalog page over. And make sure you're butting your edges up together. I got a little bit of a corner issue there, but I'll show you how I'm going to resolve that later. Now, so that fit in there. It would perfectly, but I don't like the colors next to each other very well, so I'll save that for another location. You see why I save all my corners. They can really come in handy and help you No, too close. Okay, what if we come down here? Well, hope I'm not going to run out of things to use. If I do, I'll have to stop and paint up some more. I like that, but they're too close in width. I think that can work there. You will see as we get further into this, it gets a little more complicated toward the end than it ever is at the beginning. At the beginning you have, of course, all the choices in the world, and then at the end I plan to solve that little problem a different way, but since a solution presented itself right now, I'll take it so I don't forget. All right. One of the problems I see is I have so much of everything is like on the same plateau. Everything is kind of a mid-tone. I have practically nothing in darker colors. I do have the complete neutral here for the lightest, but I don't have, I'm not going to have any contrast going in my color pieces. They're all kind of the same. So I think before I finish this, I'm going to have to stop and come back. That could be a nice change of pace there. Not only is it wider, but it's got text on it, and it's essentially, well, there's two colors there, but you really only see one. And so I think that would be a nice change of pace. I've got that on the other side, but that's weak. Too weak. I just accidentally tore some off. All right, I'm going to overlap just a hair. I like that jagged edge. Oh boy. This might not be fixable, but we'll put it down, and then if I need to cover over that spot, I can always do that. That's the thing about vintage book paper. It is very fragile. but I love working with it. There's just such quality to it. Alright, now, remember that triangle from earlier? I think I can drop that in there quite nicely. Okay, where are we now? I think I could probably use a neutral, a thin neutral. What have I got over here? Not a whole lot to choose from. Wait, are you long enough? If I turn you over, yes you are. Okay. Alright. I think what I'm going to do, for the sake of time and the video, I'm not going to stop here and go make some dark things. I think I'm going to continue, finish it on out, and then come back after it's all done and figure out where I might like to insert some dark dark pieces. I quite like that. I think it's safest to just go ahead and glue the whole piece and then cut off what I don't need after I adhere it. And I don't want to position this halfway, you know, where the halfway mark goes right into the corner. So I'm going to go below that. Get a very good trim there. Doesn't really matter along the edges because ultimately they're not going to show up and be used anywhere anyhow. All right. Okay. See, I had this in the cool pile. Is there something in the cool pile that can work over here? Me likes this. That's a stamped image. I can add some darker, lighter, whatever at the very end, but I can also do some stamping on this if I want more of that look and feel. You know, you're not limited to just what you start out with. There are many options. But I think it's just really fun to, you know, if you could do the whole thing from just what you started with and not have to come back and add something. That's always a unique challenge and something to shoot for, but not always achievable. Okay, now what do we need? I have a place for the eye to rest in all three major quadrants. Don't think I need one up there, but we'll see. I've got a bit of this left. I could put some of that up there. I think we'll do that. Okay, coming along. Right, we'll solve that later. There's a fairly darker one. Maybe that could go in there. Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's not really a highly important area anyway. So we'll just get that little section finished up. Right. Okay, I have this, these two spots, and this, and that. So, what have I got here? I could maybe go there. I have this. Several textural pieces. I have some green. I could maybe drop in there. I don't need that whole length for the eye to rest. I think maybe we'll do that. There's one that's more solid green. I think we'll do that. And then maybe come in with something wide on the other side. Or all green, mostly green. I could maybe work there. Alright, and then I still have a bunch of other warm things. I have this. I have this. More text. And I have this with some blue in it. And that's the same as that. Okay. Just taking stock here to see how we're doing. Okay, well, let's jump in on this one. Get it down. Let's fold that one to the back. I think I will cover the back with regular vintage book paper, and so I'm okay with folding something over onto the back. All right, I'm liking this up here. So I'm going to go with that. If you like the content of this video and find it helpful, I'd appreciate it if you'd drop down and give the video a like. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And also visit my Etsy shop for resources that you might find helpful in other projects, not this one. Alright, we're getting there, gang. So I think we could use some green over on this side. Got a smidgen here, some there, some there. And so I think, and it's a nice dark green, so I think that could, you know, boost that side quite nicely. And let's see if I want to go ahead and snip something off so it doesn't get wasted any more than necessary. By the way, all the colorization of this vintage book paper scrap, this is all scraps, what I cut off, you know, all those sections that are on the top, bottom, and sides of your book pages. Generally, I don't tend to use those in my projects, and so I thought, well, for years I've just thrown them away, and I thought, how sad is that? Here's this great vintage paper, and it's just already beautifully patinaed, and why throw it away? What can I do with it? And that's when the idea came to colorize them and repurpose them. So that's what I did, and this is the result. Okay, we got a medium width, a wider width. I think we need a narrow one there, and then a corner, and that will be done. So let's see if I can solve that right now. So we're ready for some pink. What have I got? Do I have anything that's already a narrow strip? I have that, but it's not very narrow, but I could cut it down. So I think maybe I'll do that. I do like that it's pastel compared to the green one it'll sit next to. I like going from something fairly dark to something fairly light. So we have some nice contrast. So I'm going to drop that in there. trim off the excess. I have to come back to the same point of reference that I start with, otherwise I can get all confused and not know where I am. Alright, so if I did something like that, that doesn't work. I had to cut a design in half. Alright, where should we go? Something darker pink. That's probably a good choice. I have something already cut. Nope. All right. Okay. I think I'll pop that in there. Oh, I almost glued the wrong side. I hope you're enjoying this with me. I'm having a very good time. I think it's coming out just like I envisioned it would. I think that I'm going to drop that right in there. The main thing in doing something like this is you want to make sure, as best as you can, that you have enough to work with to do what you envision. There's nothing worse than, you know, just running out of something, or, you know, just having all the wrong thing available and nothing that's right. I got a little one there and these two, and we're going to be there. I'm going to do that. Let me see if I can use a triangle that I already have. I think that can work right there. I'm just going to overlap it a little bit so I don't have to trim anything off. Okay, here's where we started. Alright, and I just have 2 corners to do up. What have I got here? A partial corner. That's maybe okay. And then do a small triangle down here. No, that's too much same color. And have I got a solution for here? I do indeed. Or is it too green? Maybe it's a little too green. I'm going to need some pink down there. Yeah, I think that'll work better. You just want to make sure you have a good distribution of the colors, so that one part of it doesn't wind up just too much of the same thing. So it's a process of blending your color mix, your widths, any patterns, and of course contrast. Oop. I'm forever dropping things, and then I can't find what I dropped. Frustrating. Okay, did I glue that down? I did. Oh, I have this. Okay. So, almost done, gang. If you're still here, I thank you for staying with me. It's not much fun to craft alone. I like to think that people enjoy what I'm showing enough to stay with me. Alright. Here's where we were. And I decided to do that, and then I just have a tiny corner to finish up with. And that laid in there perfectly. And I bet I probably have a corner. And I don't want to use more text. What have I got here? And there's a little blue or green. I want that, or do I want that? I think I'll go for that. Alright, so I do have a few spots right here where it broke away on me, and I'm not sure, I guess that's not a spot, it just happens to be a little thing there, which really doesn't matter because it's right on the edge and it'll get cropped off, but the perfectionist in me wants to fix it. So what have I got? Okay, just that up there. So I think what I'm going to do is that's what we're going to do. I wanted to use up this great little piece anyway, and I'm glad I found a spot for it. Alright, I actually did decide to use a little bordering to define the different angles, but instead of cutting out paper strips or using any other kind of method, I decided to pull out some of my colored jute and to use it. It's very thin. I didn't want much of a line in there, but I did want something that would define it, and so I'm really pleased with how this ultimately turned out, and I wanted to show you. And I wanted to show you how in a master board such as this, there you can look at it 4 different ways. So this is the vantage point that I started with, and just turning it 90 degrees, look what happens. I think maybe I like this vantage point the best, but let's take a look at the next 2. Turning it again, now we're 180 degrees from the original, and you know, that's nice, not my favorite. And so here we are 180 degrees, I guess it is. I see a Y there. I don't want to see a letter. So for me, it would be this vantage point or probably this one. But now, do remember, this is a 12 by 12 board, and my printer will only go 8.5 by 11, so I'm only going to get a portion of that. So I will be printing off several different versions of this, and the layout will be slightly different from one to the next. So, with that said, thanks for being here and sticking with me. I appreciate it so much. And so this is Miss Darling calling this a wrap. Bye-bye.